is that you make the mix for the first 5 minutes, maybe use lots of skills, because to be honest, we get so many CDs through our agency. I do not have time to listen to the whole hour and a half. You only listen to the first 15 minutes and then the phone rings or something. So you've got to catch somebody's attention in the first stage of a CD.
Magazines like iDJ are a forum for new talent, whether it's DJ talent or artists, producers. Just in this magazine we do a section for readers' mixtapes, so all those bedroom DJs, they can do their mixes, send them in on CD or tape, and we'll review them in the mag. Now, obviously there's promoters and club owners reading this magazine as well, and we've had cases where, you know, those people have read the review, liked what they've seen, phoned up our readers and they've got a gig the next week. And it's the same with new music as well. Producers and artists can send in their music. They don't have to be signed even, and we'll review the music, and you know, if we like it, we'll publish it. You know, one of our roles is to encourage new music and new talent, and that's something we take very seriously.
And making tapes is a DJ's worst nightmare because you're your own biggest critic, and every tape you do, sometimes you could get one mix from the end and just do something a little bit wrong and think, oh no, I'd have to rewind it and do it all again. But so yeah, tapes are a real pressure, but that's the only way to get about because people want to hear what you can do.
There's a number of people who can help you with your career, you know, whether it's promoters, managers, agents, PRs. You know, you need to use these people to forward your career, but you've also got to be a little bit careful. You know, if you're ever going to sign any kind of contract, make sure that you get a solicitor to check it over first, because, you know, believe it or not, there are a few sharks out there in this business, so you know, you need to take care of yourself and make sure you don't get ripped off.
So many people want to be a DJ now, so there's just so much more competition, and I think personality is something that's really, really important nowadays, especially when you're playing out, jumping around behind the decks and having a good time, because the audience, they feed off that, the clubbers, they like that, and I think that's really important nowadays.
So we've covered the mixing basics. Now it's time to get serious as Miles demonstrates a few of the advanced tricks. These are the sort of techniques used when you need to add something a bit different to the mix.
So we've done our basic mixing skills.
Yeah.
And what you can do now is playing around with a mixer and all the tools that are available to you to enhance your mixing. One of the simplest things to do to start with is learning to take the bass out of one of the tracks when you're mixing.
Why would you want to do that?
Especially in clubs or when you're making a tape or a CD for someone, helps keep the levels the same and it stops the bass from booming, which could damage people's sound systems or make your tape distorted, something like that.
Okay.
So what I'll do now, if I just show you a very simple and basic mix, then we can show you what you do with the bass when you're in the mix.
All right.
We put this track on here. At the minute we're playing this completely flat, all the EQs all at naught.
Okay.
And if we get our next tune ready.
So this is the tune that we're going to mix into that one there. And you're going to take the bass out of this one.
Yep. You can take it down just a little bit, you can take it all the way out.
Okay.
But when you get to the centre point in your mix, you want to bring that one down and then take this one up. Also a good point when you are mixing and you're playing with bass and mid and treble is listen to records. Some records are badly EQ'd and they might need a bit more top sometimes.
Right, okay.
Things like that. So if you just play the track, I can show you on a breakdown what you can do with the EQ. Some people often use it for just taking out bass beats anyway. You can do that.
Right.
But on a break you can take up your treble and your mids and get a nice effect.
Okay, now that's brought the sound right up. Does that affect your levels?
Yeah, you have to be careful when you're doing this sort of thing actually, because you could damage your speakers or sound system, whatever. So it's always worth taking the gain down a little bit when you're going to do that. Just be careful really. But you can take it all sort of almost right out and then bring it back.
And this is just tricks for variety.
Oh yeah, but it's good fun and it does sound really good, you know, when a sound system's pumping and you're doing this sort of thing.
Yeah. Would you always finish with all the levels flat?
I think you would most of the time, unless you wanted it to sound specifically different at the end of your mix.
Okay, that's good.
Also on this mixer, to do with the EQ, you can not only put them up or down with the rotary buttons there, we've also got these isolators here, or kill switches. And you can use these, you can take out the bass and stab it back in.
Okay, so it completely cuts it out there.
Yeah, because if you turn all three, you get rid of everything.
Nothing, yeah.
You can use this, perhaps if you wanted to mix one record and try and take out the vocals of another, you could take the mid out there and then even take out even more there. And perhaps if you just wanted to use the bass line, you do the same again with the high frequency as well.
Okay, and that's completely cut out the vocal then.
Yep.
So that's EQing.
Yeah, it's something that's very simple and very basic. It's on pretty much all mixers. You either have high, mid and low, bass, middle and treble, kill switches or isolators. But you can have a lot of fun with it when you're mixing. You can do different things. Crowds like it as well.
Yeah.
And you can be very creative with it. Another thing you can do when you're playing a track, instead of just playing with the crossfade but going between two tracks, you can actually use the faders for effects. If I play this tune here, you listen to what I do. You can just fiddle around with the fader and actually make the drum loop sound completely different.
Sounds like a totally different tune. Okay. And sometimes you can play this one at the same time as that one and go across that way.
Yeah, you can do anything you like. I'm going to show you a couple of more advanced tricks you can do on decks now. And for this, we use two identical tunes.
Right.
The first one's phasing, whereby you play two records at exactly the same time, and you just make really small adjustments with the pitch fader, and this creates the sound. You can also use a phasing unit in a club if they've got one, but this is a trick you can use just using two decks in your mixer.
Okay, so here we're just doing it manually.
Yeah. And once I get it in, if you listen to the tune, you can hear it coming in and out just as I make a slight adjustment with the pitch fader. This next trick is where we play a tune either 2 beats, 1 bar, or 1 beat behind. I'm going to demonstrate just playing it 1 beat behind, and this way it creates a sort of echo when you're playing and you go from one to the other. Just have a listen to this, you'll be able to see what I mean.
Okay. For many DJs, the next step from playing gigs in clubs is producing their own music. This could be anything from remixing your favourite track to actually producing something brand new from scratch. Rob Buckler, the owner of top London recording studio Strongroom, has seen this shift in the way DJs work firsthand for himself. Strongroom has for many years been the studio of choice for many of today's superstar DJs.
We sort of see the studio and production side of the culture, and where it's changed now is that rather than DJs just being there and playing the music and developing other people and remixing other people, the culture's changed into the fact that they actually want to produce their own music and develop their own side of things.
Okay, I'm working on a hard house track at the moment. Decided to make that my first one because it's one of my favourite styles of music, and I'm basically working with a producer, and he's teaching me from scratch, teaching me all about Cubase and effects machines. And
a lot of records that are made these days, whether it's DJs or people making their records, a lot of the successful ones that are in the top 20 or the top 10 are generally created on very, very cheap and cheerful equipment in people's bedrooms. So you don't necessarily need to have a huge budget to make a hit record.
it's really interesting learning. It's more difficult than I thought it would be, in the sense